Yep, and you know, being organized isn't my wheelhouse. And I was so organized, I was ready 20 minutes early, and then I got busy. And here I am, Maureen Baker. And I hope I'm not upside down. Am I upside down? No, I'm not upside down. Here I am right here. Yes, Maureen Baker from the studio on the pond in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. We're going to do a little finish up on this beautiful seascape. And I thought it would be fun to paint some birds on it. I thought that would be a good idea. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to flip it down. And we're going to get going. All right, I'm hoping I'm going to flip it down. You know, technology and we have our qualms. But I get there. Let's see if I can bring this up to be, yes. And I love it if you can, let's see. There we go. We're going to flip it. There we go. Toolbar mode. That way I can see everything that's going on. And I would love it if you could like and share and comment. Yes. I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about. Yep, I would. Here we go. And we are gonna just go down a little bit. And it's a little crooked. I don't know why it went crooked on me, but it did. But that's gonna work, I think. I'm gonna go a little more over. There it is. That's what I want you to see. All right. So yeah, this is a piece that I had worked on a while ago. This is Marvelous Monday is an acrylic. Yes, it is. It's an acrylic. I'm gonna lighten up a little bit of that sand as I'm looking at it. Okay, just a little bit, not a lot. And I just think it's a little dark right there. You don't want it to be dark. And then I thought it would be fun to put in some birds. You know, give a little movement. Birds are always at the seashore. Well, I always see them at the seashore. But right here, just right in here, got a little dark. I'm going to hold my brush way back here. See where I'm holding it? No, you can't. Way back there. Okay, and I'm going to have a very light touch. And we're just going to soften that out just a little bit here and there. It just got a little dark. And I am going to add some warm white. I am. Was organized. All right, and add just a tiny touch of white to it. Just to lighten it just even a little more. All right. So, yep, winter is back, but that's all right. Yeah, I woke up to snow in my yard. I thought we were done. I was ready to go out and work in the yard this coming weekend. We'll see how that works. You know, it's New England. There we go. Just lighten that up here and there. Just a tiny little bit. Light touch. It's not perfectly even. It's sand. It's coming in. It is still sand there. All right. It is still sand there, and we want to keep it sandy. And up in here, we're going to add a little more white. There. wet in my brush. What am I using? I don't know what I'm using. It's a good size though for what I'm doing. It's an 8. It's an 8 flat. I can use it on the chisel edge, and I can also use it on the whole brush of the whole belly of the brush, which is good. Okay, and we don't want this to be even. I want it to be uneven. All right, there we go. All right. Now we're gonna paint in some birds because I think some birds would be a good thing. And we want gradual movement going on here. A little bit more. There we go. There we go. And a little bit of light back in here again. Like I said. And then the birds. We're going to bring in some birds. Birds are good. Birds are a good thing. They make movement. They bring life to it. They bring movement to it. They're good for it. They're good for the composition. My brain is a little full. I do have reference photos that I use. That's a good thing. I use reference photos, okay? And we're going to start with medium white. All right, we're going to start with a medium white on these birds. And I'm going to use a tiny little brush. What is this? This is a 4. Even have a 2 handy dandy 2. And I have a 5-aught liner. Okay, and I'm going to go into medium white. All right, and we're going to bring in these birds. And this guy right here, we're just going to base coat him in. And I want to keep the curvature of the bird. I do. All right, and the tip of the wing goes right out here. And then his other wing comes in like this. There. See that? It's going to make a lot more sense when we get the bird in. Now I'm going to take medium white and I'm going to mix a little bit of white with it so it's a little bit lighter. And then we're going to bring in his body. And, you know, this is done much more carefully than other things that I do. For a lot of you, I'm a very loose painter. And I like to be loose. Some people think I'm very tight. Now, under here, we're going to take and we're going to put out some Prussian blue, which they don't make anymore. And we're going to put out some burnt umber. You know, and I do a painting journey class. Yeah, I do. And we're going to mix that together. And we're going to get a dark. And then we're going to add some medium white to it. And we're going to get a beautiful shadow color. All right. And the shadow comes in right there. There we go. And I'm going to mix this brown and blue together. And we're going to tint the bird. Yeah, we're going to put in some of his markings. All right. I'm going to put in some of his markings right there like that. And this up against the other wing needs to be very tightly tucked in. Okay. Then I'm going to take some of the shading color that I used over here, and I'm going to streak some of that in to his wing, which is the dark with a little bit of medium white in it. Okay? And we want to give it a little bit of texture. And I'm on the chisel edge of my brush. And we're just going to give that wing a little bit of texture. Now we're working in acrylics. Marvelous Monday is about acrylics. And acrylics dry an entire value darker. We want to keep that in mind. All right. Tucking in under this wing. I'm going to make this a little bit darker. All right. And even from a distance, look at that. Look at him. Isn't he beautiful? I'm going to just tap in just a little bit of color on his body. Just a little tiny bit of gray on his body. Up in here. And this gray that's underneath, that's a shadow, comes almost on the whole wing. There. Okay? And it does come underneath, and it even goes onto his belly a little bit. It's not blue though, it's definitely a brown. It's a black. We want it gray. It has a bluish tint to it. All right, underneath this wing, we want to get this a little bit darker. And then on his belly. There we go. And bring it back. And that's good for now. Okay? With this gray, no, I'm not doing it with that. Changed my mind on that one. I think we can use an art. We'll try. We'll use an art liner. And we'll go into this dark gray. It's gray though, it's not black. So as I'm mixing it, I'm going to add a little bit of this medium white to get a gray. Want it a little darker, so we add a little bit more Prussian blue and a little bit more burnt umber. Twirl that liner brush between my fingers. And back here, we have one that's quite a bit in the distance. And we're going to bring that in with gray, that dark gray. All right, I'm going to bring that in with the dark gray. This comes up, under, okay, and that's where we begin on it. And we're going to add some medium white to it. We don't want a lot of paint on our brush. He's very far in the distance. There we go. And he's got a tiny little bit of a shape in there. Otherwise, he won't look like a bird. People will look at it and say, what is that? Now see, that got a little bit long. So we're just going to take some of that off. And that's the beauty of working with traditions. A little bit darker, not quite that light. And that's good. Then we're going to go into medium white. And up on the, there we go. And just barely touch down. There. Into Prussian blue, straight out of the bottle. It's not a tube. And we're going to put in some dark. Now, against the ocean, you can't see him that well. But he's there, and the movement is there. All right, a little bit darker under the wing. There. That's good. Now on this guy, we're going to take that Prussian blue right out of the tube, and we're going to go like and put that on his tip because they're on their tip. That's a color that's on their tip. There we go. This one's a lot closer to us, so we have a little bit more ability to see some of his detail. And I'm just tapping in some dark on the wing. All right. I'm now going to clean off my brush. And I'm going to go into titanium white, which I don't usually use, but I am using it today on these birds. And we're going to give him a little bit of marking. All righty. Here we go. Here we go. And a little bit up in here. And a tiny bit under here. This is his body. And it does that. Now I'm going to go to a 5-aught. I'm going to go to a 5-aught liner. And we're going to detail this guy even more. Okay, this is titanium white. And we're going to skip this down across his body like that. This is acrylics. It will pick up some of the underpainting, which means it'll dry a tiny bit darker. And then on this wing, there's some highlighting that goes on this wing. We're going to bring that up like that. That's good. And just a tiny bit there. There. Now, believe it or not, we're going to add a tiny bit of yellow oxide to his beak. There we go. And you can see it. He's close enough that you can see the yellow, the yellow oxide on his beak. All right. Just a tiny bit of yellow oxide on his beak. And I'm using a 5-aught. All right, and we're going to bring this beak to a point. There we go. I know, it's those tiny little details that can make a difference, that can make a good painting into a great painting. All right, and then we're going to go in again with titanium white. And we're going to do, there we go. I'm using a 5-aught. Trying to get a little bit better shape on his head. There. That's good. This underneath has some gray to it. So. We're just painting that in. These are real detailed markings. Whoops, a little bit of brown in there. We don't want it to be blue. There we go, that's a good color. And we're going to just bring a little bit of this shading into the underneath. And there's a little bit of that going on down in there. That's good. Okay. Then I can see this guy's eye in my reference photo, which means that I could see it when I was at the beach. And we're barely going to touch down with this 5/0. No, I don't like that. That's all right. I'm going to take it out. I'm just going to paint over it. It's in the wrong spot. His eye wouldn't be way up there. And I don't really want it to be blue. I want it to be black. From the distance, it's pretty dark. And it's going to be a little tiny line, just like that. See that? Oh, you can't see that. I am going to do, I'm hoping it's going to work. And it is working. There we go. Yeah, I'm making a mess. It's all right. I'm used to a mess. I never cleaned my room when I was a kid. My mother used to always want me to clean my room. I'm like, oof. There you go. And those details make a big difference. Okay. This guy back here is much farther away, so we don't see as many details. I am going to add a little tiny bit of white to him, just because I think it'll be helpful. There, I'm using a 5/0 liner still, and we're just going to add a tiny bit of white. There we go. Just a tiny bit more detailing. And we're going to keep that detail on the bird's body, not on his wings. No, not too much paint on my brush. I'm better off to go at it a couple of times than to have to repaint him. There. A little more warm. No, it's not warm white. It's medium white, which is darker. Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. Now, this guy's flocking in the rocks. He is. He's flocking in the rocks. All right. And we're going to paint him too. Flocking away in the rocks. All right. So I'm going to start using my 4. Now he's much closer to us, but I'm still want to make sure that I have some dimension. So this front wing is going to come around like this and come down to the rock. He's hiding under the rock. All right, and this is the front wing. We're making that. We're starting even at the start of this guy. Start of this, yeah. We're starting him lighter. All right, and then his body is right here. It's too big. Do I have a 2 in there? I do. Of course I do. I know I have my paint brushes in the water, which is a very bad habit of mine. I'm mumbling. My brushes are in the water. There we go. Yeah. Okay. The direction in which his beak is going to show the direction that he's pointing to. Then we're going to put in a darker gray, and we do want it to be gray. We don't want it to be blue. It can be a blue gray, but we don't want it. We want it to be gray. And I'm just mixing burnt umber and Prussian blue, and it comes down like that. All right, and that's a good start. Under here, we're going to bring in some of that gray as we detail it. There's none of this gray is on his body. Then we're going to make a black. And we're making that black by mixing the Prussian blue with the burnt umber. And I love it if you can share, like, comment, and share the video. Now this dark, we want to have a slight curve to this wing because it has a slight curve to it. Bring it down like that. All right. Bring it out like that. Okay. Bring a little bit of the dark into this one. There. There we go. And this is the gray, medium gray. It's really a medium gray. All right. There. We're going to go into a little bit of titanium white. And we're going to go in here like this. And we're going to go up. Yeah, we want a slight curve and come down. And then we're going to bring in some light right onto the edge of this guy right here, his wing right here. There we go. Then the gray also is on this guy's tip. And I am mixing burnt umber and there we go. There we go. All right, and this down here, we're going to bring in there. All right. Into his body, I'm going to go in and I'm going to go back in with my 5-aught liner. And we're going to bring in some white into his head. Right here. That's the lightest part of them. And a little tiny bit down in here. There. I know I had some. Yep. We're going to do a little bit of work on his beak. Again, using yellow oxide. Where'd it go? Here it is. Hi, Bonnie. On YouTube, you can find the whole thing on YouTube. This will be the 3rd session on my YouTube channel. And I would love it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. I believe that beak is a little big. I think there's a connection on here, and if there's not a connection when I get off, I will create a connection. But there's lots of videos on the YouTube channel, and all 3 parts, excuse me, all 3 parts of this is on the YouTube channel. There. His, we're gonna bring back in a little bit of the rock because this got a little out of shape here, and we can just do that. There we go. His beak got way too heavy. There we go. And then once again, I'm going to go in with white. Hi, PM. How are you, dear? And then we're going to do the final little detail here so he looks decent. This has to be rounded out a little bit. And then he needs an eye. Like a little line. Alrighty, a little bit of burnt umber and black in here. Right there. He is behind this rock and we want to keep him behind the rock. There. And don't forget, on Thursday, Thankful Thursdays are oils. There we go. We're also doing a program this weekend on Online Market Spot. There we go. Just a little more detail. And a tiny light in this guy's wing. Right there. A little bit more. Yeah. Alrighty. And that's going to do it for today. And I want to thank you guys for coming. And I hope to see you all soon. Alrighty. Have a great day.